Shalom, shalom. It's your brother Azrael coming back again with another 30 for 30 video. 30 lessons, 30 videos, right? 30 days. We coming back to back, keeping the zeal up, keeping the edification up, keeping the exhortation up, right? Holding our brethren accountable, trying to help the nation of Israel, make their calling and election sure. Right, because it's our heart's desire that all of Israel will be saved, even though we know it's going to be a remnant. Right, so today's video is on fearing the Most High. Right, we shouldn't be fearing anything that's carnal. We shouldn't be fearing anything that's in this physical earth. Right, we shouldn't be fearing none of that stuff, and that's easier said than done, because everybody experiences fear. Whether you're the toughest man, whether you're the weakest man. Right, whether you're the toughest woman, the most independent, bad boss woman, or whether you the loneliest woman, you know what I'm saying? Everybody, whether you the oldest, right, or whether you the youngest, everybody experiences fear. So we got to understand how to think about fear and where to and how to put fear in subjection and to use fear in the right places in our life. And who should we be fearing? Right? Is it man? Is it sickness? Is it laws of the world, right? Is it food? Who should we be fearing? Or is it the Most High God, right? So we're going to go over a few precepts on fear, right? Let's get straight into it. Let's go to Psalms 56:4. Psalms 56:4 reads what? In God I will praise his word. In God I have put my trust. Right? I will not fear what flesh can do unto me. So if you put your trust in the Most High God, you don't fear what flesh can do to you. You actually know what flesh can do to you. It says a wise man considereth the house of the wicked. It says a prudent man foreseeth the evil. Right? So what does that mean? You understand what flesh can do to you and you're not scared of it. You got to put yourself in scenarios in your mind, right? Especially in the times that we're in. You know, Jacob's trouble is written in the Bible. It has to come to pass. The beginning of sorrows is written in the Bible. It has to come to pass. Madmen sparing none has to come to pass. Right? Earthquakes in diverse places. We're here in America, right? But Most High willing, you know, we're protected when things come and touch this virgin. Right? Because we're seeing videos of people in earthquakes. We're seeing videos and people in floods. We're seeing videos of people in natural disasters and shootings and riots. But it's not here yet. It ain't touching us yet. But guess what? Somebody's actually going through that. A human being is actually going through that. You have to put yourself, in their shoes. You got to put yourself in the worst situation possible, right? So that when that day might come, or when that day does come, you fear nothing. You fear only the Most High. You don't fear what carnal things can do to you. You don't fear death, right? Early death is mercy, right? As Ecclesiastes tells us, right? As a lot of our prophets and a lot of our forefathers told us, right? So we shouldn't be fearing carnal things of this world, no matter how scary they might be. It says, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Well, now we know that's parabolic, but the valley of the shadow of death, that's a dark place, right? It's describing a very dark, demonic place, right? I will fear no evil. Even though you know what evil can do, even though you know evil might be able to touch you, right? And buck up at the Most High God, because the Most High God said, touch not my anointed. He might say, consider my servant, you know, just like he said to Job. And you can't fear any evil. And no perverse thing can come to your lips. Right? We can't shut down. Let's go to 2 Kings 6 and 16. 2 Kings 6 and 16. This is the book of 2 Kings chapter 6, verse 16. And it reads, and he answered, fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them. We can't fear. So this is who talking? Elisha talking, right? He said, Verse 17, and Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes that he may see. Right? Faith is what? You got to walk by faith, not by sight. Right? But sometimes some of us need to what? We need to see. So a lot of times we got to pray for our brethren to see. We got to pray for our brethren to not have fear. We have to pray for one another. You know what? I might be sitting on the couch watching TV and Jacob's trouble or something pops in my head. Great affliction that's coming. You know, I might say in myself, I'm ready for it. Right now, none of us are ready for it because it says there's never been a day like it. Right. But I'm saying that I'm built up in the spirit and I'll deal with it. Right. As a woman in travail. But I might be thinking about brothers and sisters that's in the truth, that's either new, or brothers and sisters in the truth that's lacking in faith, you know. And I might say, you know, I need to say a prayer for them so that they can be confident, so that they can be bold as a lion. Right. So it says, and Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes. We got to pray for our brothers and sisters to open their eyes so that they don't fear what flesh can do unto them, that he may see. And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man and he saw. So, hey, look, when we're giving sight to the blind spiritually when we preach the gospel, when we preach good tidings, good news. Right, when we're waking up our people, telling them who they are, bringing them back to the Most High God, as it was prophesied in Hosea, right? So we got to make them see. Hey, look, it's many are called, but few is chosen. But it's many angels backing us up. You don't have nothing to fear. And behold, the mountains was full of horses and chariots of the fire about Elisha. Right, meaning, guess what? We gonna always have protection. When you keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, it says he shows mercy to those that love him and keep his commandments. Right? Just like Elisha and Elijah. Right? He's gonna get chariots around you that you can't see. When you sleeping, right? When you're on the job, right? When you giving the good news, when you preaching the gospel, when you being a disciple, right? When you having a good time, when you're mourning. He's going to send those angels around you, right? For me, I know I pray that the angels never leave me. I might be driving to work and it's dark outside, right? Early in the morning, and I notice a star, right? While I'm driving. And I'm like, dang, no matter where I turn, what angle, that star is always like right there in my windshield. I'm led to believe that's an angel, right? According to the scripture, he says he makes his angels, you know what I'm saying, fire. He makes his angels into spirits. In Hebrews 1 and 7, right? So let's go to Hebrews 1 and 7 real quick. Let's go to Hebrews 1 and 7. Because these angels are always around us. And we got to pray that they stay around us. Because, hey, look, we let our guard down a lot. So Hebrews 1 and 7 is going to describe these angels that he got set up. And how the Most High put these angels in order and what he called them, right? The book of Hebrews chapter 1, verse 7. And of the angels he saith, who maketh his angels spirits and his ministers a flame of fire. So he makes his angels what? Spirits. And those spirits are what? Flame of fire. So when you see those stars in the sky, what does the so-called white man's education tell you about stars? It's burning gas. It's flames of fire. Them stars up there, he had one thing right. You know what I'm saying? He dibble-dabbled in this book and he got that. He got that right. Those are our angels, right? And it's thousands of stars up there. So it's not far-fetched to say that Elisha was lying or making up something when he told Elijah, guess what? We got it's many of them that be with us. It's more of us than it is them. So we have nothing to be afraid of, right? I think it was Tupac that said what? Hey, look, I wasn't there when he parted the Red Sea, and I don't know if I believe it or not, but I can walk in the hood and make it home every day. And, you know, that's just as great. You know what I'm saying? We got to put these things in order to make sense. He's constantly protecting us, so we have nothing to fear. A lot of us, due to the curses, live in bad areas. you know, your brother's eye is evil towards you. And you kind of might be up all night. You got your shotgun under your bed. You're sleeping with a hammer under your pillow. You know, got tasers around the house. You got pistols. You know, you kind of scared. You kind of living in fear. You are living in fear of what flesh can do to you. And we all got to catch ourselves and tell ourselves, I don't fear what flesh can do to me. Whatever happens, happens. Hey, look, how can a man understand his own way? Man's goings are of the Lord. Hey, look, the heart of a man deviseth his way, but the Lord orders our footsteps. Right? So I can protect myself. I can buy as many guns and ammo as I want, lock the doors, buy a security system, get a Ring doorbell. I can do all that. Right? I can devise my way to protect myself. But if the Most High God wants a burglar to get into my house, right, and put my life in danger, that's of the Most High God. He does that. He creates evil and he creates good, right? So we can't fear what flesh can do to us because it's already been ordained, right? He's just trying to see, you know, your spirit play out what he's ordained, right? So let me read that one more time. And this is 2 Kings chapter 6 and 17. And Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes that he may see. And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw, and behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elisha. Chariots of fire. That same fire talked about in Hebrews 1 and 7. He said he makes his ministers, his angels, a flame of fire. Those are the stars, man. When you look at the stars, right, it says they knew that Christ was born because of the star, right? That angel that was over him. You got angels over you when you're sleeping, when you're driving, right? When you're having a good time, when you're sad, you got angels over you, literally over you, right? So let's go to Matthew 10 and 28. The book of Matthew chapter 10, verse 28. This is the book of Matthew chapter 10 and verse 28. And fear not them which kill the body, right? Don't fear those people that can put a gun to your head. Don't fear those people that can plot against you. Don't fear those people that could, you know, wreck their car into your car on the interstate. Don't fear those people that can rob you, rape you. Hey, look, there's serial killers out in Atlanta, right? The Most High God created that evil. And if it afflict you, he said in Sirach chapter 2, take it cheerfully. And that's hard to hear. Carnally, that's hard to hear. You know, be wise in your goings, but understand that man's goings are of the Lord. It's only so much that you can do, and you're not supposed to fear. He said, fear not, right? So fear them, Salakia, 28. And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul. Hey, look, it doesn't matter what people do to this physical body. They cannot touch your soul. It doesn't matter what people say to this physical body. They cannot say it to your soul, right? But rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell, right? We're only supposed to fear one person. Not Slakia. He's not even a person. One being are we supposed to fear. If you fearing anything else but that one being, that's idolatry, because he only wants you to fear him. Fear God. If you fear something else, that is idolatry, because that's saying that, hey, look, something else has great enough power to make you fear. We should only fear the Most High God, right? So let's go to Isaiah 8 and 13. The book of Isaiah 8 and 13. We're going to, these are all commandments, and then we're going to get some examples too, right? Isaiah 8 and 13. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 8, verse Salakia. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 8, verse 13. And it reads, sanctify the Lord of hosts himself, and let him be your fear, and let him be your dread. So, hey, look, you should be dreading that. You should be dreading the Most High God. You should be fearing the Most High God, not all this earthly stuff, right? Not all the doctors, not all the news media, not all the Middle Easterners, not all your enemy, your oppressor, not your brother who has an evil eye towards you, right? You shouldn't be fearing none of that. It says what? Let's read it again. Verse 13. Sanctify the Lord of hosts himself. So, hey, look, when you fear him, you're sanctifying him. Like I said, if you fear anything else, that's idolatry, right? Because you're sanctifying that thing to have power over your life. It says, sanctify the Lord of hosts himself. How are you going to sanctify him? Let him be your fear. You should fear him. Hey, look, when you read all the prophets, right? When you read about all of them that had a vision or was in the presence of the Most High God, they trembled. Whenever they got visited on a mountaintop, they trembled. Right? When people fasted, they put ashes on themselves. Right? They were in fear. It says men's hearts are going to fail them on that day because they're going to fear. That fear is going to be so tough that, hey, look, people are going to pass out. People are going to have heart attacks. That's great fear. When somebody a being doesn't even have to say nothing, but you in the presence of that being causes you to fear, causes you to cry, causes you to tremble. Right? We don't know what that feels like. That's a fear we have yet to experience, right? But he says to fear him and let him be your dread. So we should let him be our dread. Not having a miscarriage. We should let him be our dread. Not losing a loved one. We should let him be our dread. Right? Let the dead bury the dead. We should let him be our dread. Not losing a job. Right? He said, I have no place to sleep. We should let him be our dread. Not us never finding a spouse. We should let him be our dread. Right? Not all these earthly things. Right? You go through affliction on earth, take it cheerfully, like Sirach says. Let's go to Sirach. Let's go to Ecclesiastes Chapter 2. Ecclesiastes Chapter 2. Or Sirach. Right? Ecclesiastes Chapter 2. It says, it's a classic. We all know this in the truth. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. So he's getting you ready right now to not fear anything. Right? He's saying you signed up for something, and I'm going to tell you like it is. I'm going to tell you the raw truth. Shalom, shalom. Shabbat shalom. Right? Hey, look, he's going to tell you the raw truth. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Right? You might be tempted to be fearful at something carnal. Right? That's that temptation. Number 2, set thy heart aright, constantly endure. When you have that bad dream, when you feel like spirits is in your house, constantly endure. When you feel like you're being afflicted, right? When you feel like your life is in danger, constantly endure. Make not haste in time of trouble. Hey, look, a lot of times, and I always say it when I get to this verse, David was in time of trouble and he didn't make haste. He didn't run. He didn't cower out. He didn't make decisions off of impulse, off of emotion. He took his time. He's isolated himself. It says go into a closet when you pray, right? He isolated himself and he prayed to the Most High God for direction because he knew that's the one that ordered his steps. He knew that's the person that caused whatever is happening to happen, right? He said, hey, hand me the ephod when everybody was wanting to kill him and they done stole all their wives and their children, right? He said, hey, look, hand me the ephod. He didn't make haste. Right? We can't make haste because of fear. Verse 3, cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou may be increased at the last end. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully. Right? Doesn't mean make excuses. It doesn't mean feel bad for yourself, feel sorry for yourself. Right? Be vain about it. It says I'm going to read it again. Verse 4, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully. Rape. Whatever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully. Oppression. Whatever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully. A death of a loved one. Whatever brought upon thee, take cheerfully. Robbed at gunpoint. right? Make not haste in these times of trouble. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully. You lost your job. Whatever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, right? You don't have no car, transportation, right? When thou art changed to a low estate, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. Hey, look, all the prophets had to be changed to a low estate. All the disciples were changed to a low estate. If the Most High's Son had to be changed to a low estate, right? We got to be changed to a low estate too. So don't fear when you change to a low estate. You're being tried. You're being tempted when you come to serve the Lord. Straight up. All right. So let's go to 2 Maccabees 6:30. Let's get an example. 2 Maccabees 6:30. And this is the old man. This is the OG of the nation, right? Went down like a champ. Something that we all should look forward to, right? This is 2 Maccabees Chapter 6 and verse 30, right? 2 Maccabees Chapter 6 and verse 30 is what? It was a man that was an older man that was trying to be force-fed pork, right? And he was so known in the gates, right, that even the enemy was like, hey, look, we don't even want to make you eat pork, you know? You never caused us harms, no strife, you know. We just know that you're a powerful man, so we're trying to make you a taskmaster like we have today. A taskmaster that says, make sure you drink your mandatory Ovaltine and get your mandatory Ovaltine sugar booster, right? So, hey, look, they said, we know that you are a man of renown in your nation. You don't even got to eat the pork. You don't even got to take, need I say less? You don't even got to take it. Just take this placebo, right? Just make them think that you're doing it so that you can influence them, right? This is what they did in slavery. Take the biggest, strongest man, break him down in front of you, right? So this was what they was doing to the OG, the old man in 2 Maccabees chapter 6. So let's go to 2 Maccabees chapter 6 and verse 30, because he's going to leave you with some wise words before he gives up the ghost, before he yields the ghost, right? 2 Maccabees chapter 6 and verse 30 reads what? But when he was ready to die with stripes, he groaned and said, he died with stripes. Hey, look, this man, hey, he didn't just die. He wasn't just in a movie and just died. This man was actually beaten. He was actually sore. He was actually bruised. He was actually bleeding, right? We can't just read this like it's just a novel, like it's a book. We got to understand this is an actual person going through actual persecution, slavery, right? But when he was ready to die with stripes, he groaned. That's why he groaning. He's groaning because he literally is about to die. That's how much hurt he's in. He groaned and said, it is manifest unto knowledge. Wait, Salakia. It is manifest unto the Lord that hath the holy knowledge, that whereas I might have been delivered from death. He said, hey, look, he could have delivered me from death, but he didn't. Right? Just like the 3 Hebrew boys. What they told the king of Babylon, hey, look, the Most High God has the power to save us, but even if he doesn't, we still gonna serve him, right? He has the knowledge. He knows everything. I know nothing. I'm just living out what he wants me to act, right? He the director of the movie, and I'm a paid actor, right? That whereas I might have been delivered from death, I now endure sore pains in my body by being beaten, right? He has the power to give me peace and rest. He has the power to lift this heavy burden off of me, this slavery. But hey, look, I'm beaten. And I'm saying this in front of you, Israel, my people, my nation, right? We got to listen to the OG. What does he say? I now endure sore pains in my body by being beaten. It's an old man. Can you imagine an old man like 80 years old getting beaten, torn up, right, by instruments? Can you imagine that? Imagine you have a great grandfather or a grandfather, right? And he kind of old. He's slow now. He got aches. He don't move as fast as he used to. He might have memory problems, right? He not hurting nobody. He just smile every now and then, You know what I'm saying? Can you imagine him getting beat till he bleed, till he's sore, till he's groaning, right? So it says, but in soul am well content to suffer these things because I fear him. He doesn't fear all that stuff that his body's going through. He doesn't fear all that torment. He says he's content. Why? Because he fears him. Hey, everything is mental. They like to tell you that when you in sports. Everything is mental. If your body's not doing a full body cramp right now, if your body's still functioning, you can keep going. Right? So he said, hey, look, I fear him. So I don't fear any of this other stuff. I'm content. I'm happy. We got to be like the OG. Right? I encourage you to read 2 Maccabees Chapter 6. Right? 2 Maccabees Chapter 7 and 28. Salakia. We'll go to the next chapters, chapter 7, with the boys, with all the sons, right? And the mom, right? What did the mom tell them? What did the mom? Hey, the mom is an OG too. She ain't. Hey, look, our people. Hey, we are strong people. I said this on my story a minute ago. If we didn't have all these gangs and people willing to die for colors, right? And people willing to die for respect in neighborhoods, guess what? We would be the prophets again. We would be the people of Israel, right? These people stood up for the law. These people stood up for the commandments, right? And they didn't back down. Even mothers who see their sons, I don't even know the word, but demembered, you know what I'm saying? When mothers see their sons tortured, she was a mom of Israel, right? And deeper, this is the mother of us all, wisdom, teaching us through the Spirit in this parable of this torture, right? So let's read what the mom said. 2 Maccabees 7 and 28. 2 Maccabees 7 and 28 reads what? I beseech thee, my son, right? Look upon the heaven and the earth and all that is therein, and consider that God made them of the things that were not. And so was mankind made likewise, right? It says, I beseech thee, my son. So, hey, pretend like in the Garden of Gethsemane, right? When he said, let this cup pass from me, he was praying in the Spirit. Who you think he was praying to? He was praying to the Most High, right? And the Most High had to send his Spirit to talk to this man. I'm led to believe that the Spirit was talking to Christ and saying this is what this mom is saying to the sons. She's saying wisdom is saying the same thing when he said, let this cup pass from me, right? I beseech thee, my son, look upon the heaven and the earth when he's crying out and bleeding blood, right? Sweat and blood, and consider what God made them of the things that were not. And so was mankind made likewise. Hey, look, we was made just like the earth, just like the trees, just like the birds, just like the natural disasters, just like the rainbow, just like the rain, right? Just like the tornado, and just like that beautiful wind that hits you on the beach. We was made just like that, even as mankind, right? Verse 29 says, fear not this tormentor, right? These people that's crucifying you, these people that's beating you, that's cutting your members off, right? Fear not this tormentor, right? That's scary. But being worthy of thy brethren, take thy death. If you want to be worthy of your brethren, take your death. Take it. Be content like the OG said, right? Because we know that if you being killed for the law, statutes, and commandments, you being dealt with by the Most High God, because he ordained that to happen from the beginning, right? Take thy death that I may receive thee again in mercy with thy brethren. Right? They believed in the resurrection, even in the Old Testament. They believed in the resurrection in the Apocrypha, right? The resurrection was our hope, was our faith. For any man that will save his life shall lose it, and any man that will lose his life for my sake shall gain it. Everlasting life. So we should fear none of this carnal stuff. None of this stuff that people can do, right? And we're living in a time right now where there's a lot that you could fear. You could fear, it's a drought coming with water. You could fear not having enough water, especially if you've been bougie and you don't know how to drink out of a tap. Salakia. Especially, if you've been bougie and you don't know how to drink out the sink, Hey, times is coming where food is gonna be scarce. They paying people to stop farming, right? So it's a lot of things that we could fear. It's sicknesses out here. You can't even sneeze without people looking at you crazy, right? There's sorcery all on TV, right? There's world wars. You can only be cognitive dissonant for so long, right? So hey, look, the testimony of Christ is the spirit of prophecy. Meaning, guess what? If you call yourself a disciple, you know what? You got to understand that prophecy has to come. Just like the mom was telling her sons, hey, look, we're made just like everything in the earth for a purpose, right? Appointed to whose purpose? His will, right? So let's get this is the last precept I'm gonna bring out, right? And this is a mighty example of the nation of Israel, right? This is how mighty our nation is, right? We got MS-13, right? The Mexicans got MS-13. We got Bloods, Crips, neighborhood GDs. We got all these people that's willing to die for simple things, right? Things that don't even hold weight. It's vanity, right? They're willing to die for nothing, for respect, right? But as a people, we used to stand up and want to die for the Most High God. We used to want to die because we didn't want to eat pork. We used to want to die because we wanted to celebrate our holy days. And now they have reverse psychology. They have replacement theology. They replaced all those holy things with carnal things. And we're willing to die for that stuff. You can see that we're the same people, right? We're just our mind is focused on something else, right? So let's get this real quick. In First Maccabees 4:30. This is the book of First Maccabees chapter 4 and verse 30. Hey, look, this is how great our nation is. This is how mighty our nation used to be. This is how mighty we still are once we get on track to the Most High God. Once we come back, once we remember, and repent and pray towards the temple, pray towards the place, pray towards his face, right? Get dirty, say that we're wicked, commit our sins, confess our faults one to another, right? Because I get scared. You get scared. Everybody gets scared. But hey, look, we can't fear nothing but the Most High God. And that's how our people acted, in the days of old. So let's read this. First Maccabees chapter 4 and verse 30 reads what? Everybody knows Judas Maccabees. Everybody knows him. If you're in the truth, you know him, right? So he had an army, right? And his army was going to work, man. He had his little Golden State Warriors season, right? His Warriors was going to work. They was in the league. Hey, everybody knew about them, and hey, they was taking people down like the movie 300. It didn't matter how many soldiers you threw at them, right? So First Maccabees chapter 4 and verse 30. This is about Judas and his army. It says, and when he saw that mighty army, right? I'm gonna go up to verse 29. So they came into Idumea, which we all know as the so-called white man, and pitched their tents at Bethshura. And Judas met them with 10,000 men. He only had 10,000 men, right? But best believe they was trained with shield and buckler, right? They was going to work. Okay, so they came into Idumea, right? The so-called land of the white people, of the so-called white people, and pitched their tents at Bethshura. Hey, it's always been a beef between us, black and white. Two manner of people, two nations formed in the womb, right? Two brothers, two twins. And Judas met them with 10,000 men. So verse 30, let's see about these 10,000 men, right? Let's see about these 10,000 men. Were they mighty? Were they weak? Were they sufficient? Were they just regular Joes, right? Let's read verse 30. And when he saw that mighty army of 10,000 men, he prayed and said, blessed art thou, O Savior of Israel, who didst quell the violence of the mighty man by the hand of thy servant David. Go, Salakia. Thousand, and you might subdue them. Army and confounded their power and horsemen. Make them to be of courage and cause the boldness of their strength. Wait and let the quake. Now with this world. Battle 5,000 men. Salakia, here it go right here. Right? Salakia. Let's go to 1 Maccabees 4:35 through the Spirit, right? It says, now when Lysias saw his army put to flight, right? Judas put his army to flight. And the manliness of Judas's soldiers, right? That those men with the manliness, right? We don't have real men today. We don't have real men. We have cowards today. We have scared men who act off of emotion, right? Effeminate because they have drank from the cup, right? So it says, now when Lysias saw his army put to flight, whose army? Judas's army. Whose army? The Lord's army. Whose army? The Israelites' army, right? Saw his army put to flight. All right. Salakia. That was the other side. They was put to flight by our army, right? And the manliness of Judas's soldiers and how they were ready either to live or die valiantly. He went into Antiochia and gathered together a company of strangers, having made his army greater than it was. He purposed to come again to Judea. Hey, look, when he fled Judea off the sight of the men, right? The spirit of the men was speaking for them, right? That they didn't fear nothing but the Most High God. They was ready to either live or die valiantly. We got to be ready to live or die valiantly in every situation, right? So, hey, look, with that, I'm going to say shalom. Hope y'all have a good Shabbat. Shabbat shalom, Ashar Shabbat. That's happy Sabbath. Peace unto all the people. Walk in shalom. Khan.